Creating impactful and lasting change is a mission, a vision, and a movement. Welcome to Nonprofit Voices of Impact, the show that will delve into the heart of the nonprofit world, showcasing the leaders and change makers who are driving meaningful transformation in our community. Through engaging interviews, real-life success stories, and valuable insights, this podcast highlights the passion, innovation, and dedication that fuels nonprofits across Westchester County. Whether you're a nonprofit leader or advocate, Nonprofit Voices of Impact empowers you with the knowledge and inspiration to make a powerful difference. I'm your host, Dr. Marsha Gordon, President and CEO of the Business Council of Westchester. Nonprofit Voices of Impact is sponsored by New York Presbyterian and PCSB Bank. Thank you for your support of the BCW Podcast Network.
New York Presbyterian has 3 campus locations in Westchester. New York Presbyterian Westchester in Bronxville, New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital in Cortlandt Manor, and Westchester Behavioral Health in White Plains. It will also be one of their centers for excellence and pillars of their new state-of-the-art facility opening in 2025 at 1111 Westchester Avenue in White Plains.
Take your organization far with the power of local banking. PCSB Bank's array of services, customized solutions, and local financing decisions mean you have a powerful commercial bank nearby when you need them. Voted best in business banking for 2 years in a row by 914 Inc., PCSB Bank's commitment to serving consumers, businesses, and nonprofits in the community is unparalleled. Stop by one of their 14 branches located throughout Westchester, Putnam, Dutchess, and Rockland counties, or call 888-808-4700 to learn more. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Today, we're joined by 2 incredible guests, Karen Erren, President and CEO of Feeding Westchester, and Dr. Susan Fox, President and CEO of the Westchester Institute for Human Development. I think we'll just say WIHD.
Yeah.
Karen and Susan also chair the Business Council of Westchester's Not-for-Profit Council. We are so excited to dive into the crucial missions of these organizations, the evolving changes of the nonprofit sector, and the innovative solutions to the challenges that nonprofits face. And I'm so pleased to be co-hosting this with my colleague, Linda Tyler of the Business Council of Westchester. So Linda, why don't you take it away?
Oh, thank you, Marsha, and we're so excited to begin this conversation. Karen and Susan, welcome. We're so glad you're here today. And before we begin, let's start by getting to know you both a little better. Tell us about your journey, what led you to your roles, and what drives your passion for this very important work.
Big questions.
Yeah. All right, I'll start. I'm, excuse me, I'm Susan Fox, the CEO at Westchester Institute for Human Development. I started out my career actually as a special education teacher, moved kind of quickly into administration and then into community services for people with developmental disabilities and mental health. From there, I moved into state policy administration, and from there went to work at a university doing research and policy work. And that led me to this wonderful position at WIHD here in Westchester County. I've been really lucky throughout my career to be able to work in a field where I feel like I can really make a difference, and that I have made a difference in people's lives. So I feel extremely fortunate for that.
We all know about your impact. It's significant. I'm Karen Erren, President and CEO of Feeding Westchester. No, I'm not from this area. However, this is my second time to live in New York, and I've been CEO at Feeding Westchester since 2020. I'm very fortunate after a background in corporate advertising and marketing, which ended up not being my thing. I was able to transition to nonprofit leadership 20 years ago this year. So
Congratulations, that's a milestone.
Thank you so much. And I also feel honored to be able to do what I consider life-changing work. I'm a basic needs girl. I want every single person in the United States and the world to have access to fundamentals, specifically food.
And so that's a really great segue into the fact that both of your organizations are intensely mission-driven. Karen, as you said, Feeding Westchester is tackling food insecurity, and Susan, WIHD, is dedicated to improving the lives of people with disabilities and vulnerable children. Can you each share your organization's mission and, most importantly, how you turn that mission into action every day?
So our mission at Feeding Westchester is to nourish our neighbors in the fight against hunger. And that language is really important to me because at its most basic, fundamental piece is that we stand alongside our neighbors. This is really a community issue. And Feeding Westchester envisions a community where all people have access to the food they need today and the fundamental resources to build a better tomorrow. So at Feeding Westchester, we supply food both directly to the community and to our 175 partners throughout Westchester County, including food pantries, school pantries, after-school feeding programs, senior housing, and last fiscal year, we distributed 23.2 million pounds of food into Westchester County.
So that's really important because many people don't think of Westchester County as a county with food insecurity.
That's exactly right. And we know that 1 in 3 households in our community don't have consistent access to food. And so really
1 in 3 households.
That's
wow.
right. That's right. Many of those folks are children. Many are elderly who live on a fixed income. And then there are so many hardworking parents who just want to make a better life for themselves and their families.
And as we know, the price of food is going up, so there's even more of a need. And Susan, at WIHD, how do you turn your organization's mission into action every day? I've seen the action of your organization. So inspiring.
Yeah, thank you for that question. As you said, we want to improve the lives of people with disabilities and also children in the child welfare system. So there are two populations that are very marginalized and very vulnerable. And we are really working to make sure that the world is an inclusive and accepting place for everyone. So we do that by providing a wide range of medical, dental, clinical, and social services to those populations. And we also are an academic institution. We train both current and future professionals in the field. We also conduct very innovative research to inform the field to really change the system for the better. So it's very important work. We do a wide range of services, but our goal with everything is to make life better for people with disabilities and children in the child welfare system.
Thank you so much.
Let's talk about the challenge of funding for non-for-profits and how critical are individual and corporate donors to your work, and what strategies have been successful in engaging and partnering with them and creating those important relationships.
Yeah, those partners are critical to our work. Government funding that we receive doesn't come close to covering the cost of services. So we really need to engage generous individuals, foundations, and corporations to realize our goals. But beyond the dollars, we really need their expertise and their advice. So we're always looking for dedicated board members who want to give back to the community with their expertise. So we're always looking, obviously, for dollars because the services are expensive. We are businesses. Even though we're not for profit, we can't lose money or we wouldn't be in business. And we really need the help of all of our community members, donors, and business people to help us.
Yes, I completely agree with everything Sue said. And I would add a couple things. As I mentioned, hunger relief is really about neighbors helping neighbors. And we are so fortunate to live in a highly philanthropic community. So when people ask me where Feeding Westchester gets their food and money, I say that will be D, all of the above. The opportunity to, first of all, ensure that folks know that there are a number of hungry folks in our community. And then secondarily, once they know that, they want to be a part of the solution. They want to care for their neighbors who are working so hard and still not able to put food on the table. So we are exceedingly grateful, and we have a team of folks. Like, my board was at the forefront in a way that I think it can be difficult for nonprofit boards to be. And what I mean by that is they invest in the procurement and the appreciation of this entire community who helps us fulfill our mission.
Our guests today are Karen Erren from Feeding Westchester and Susan Fox from WIHD. Linda Tyler and myself, Marsha Gordon, are with the Business Council of Westchester, and we are talking about the nonprofit community. And both Karen and Sue chair the Business Council of Westchester's Not-for-Profit Council. We have over 150 not-for-profits as members, which is incredible. And we're talking about partnerships, and we just talked about partnerships with businesses, but partnerships with elected officials in the nonprofit community and mission-based community are another key part of the equation. How do you advocate for long-term solutions, and what role do nonprofits play in shaping policy?
So this has been a really exciting area of development for Feeding Westchester. To be honest with you, we didn't really have a history of advocacy, and it's critical as we think about systemic barriers to folks being able to live self-sufficiently. So we now advocate, as I mentioned, I'm headed to D.C. later today. We advocate at the national, state, and county levels, and we have so many advocates when you think about the Westchester County community. The other thing I would say is we've found it very beneficial to be a member of BCW's LEAP program under, of course, John Ravitz's leadership.
Thank you.
And so what matters is that these are relationships like anyone else who interacts with your organization. And so the opportunity to build those relationships to ensure that we are lifting up the voices of those folks in our community who may not be heard, who don't have perhaps the opportunity to share their own story. And so we focus on lifting up their voices. We focus on ensuring that our pantries, our partners, 175 throughout the county, also have some tools to be able to interact easily with elected officials. And folks want to do the right thing for and so it's been an incredible journey, and we really look forward to continuing to utilize our voices comprehensively.
Yeah, agree with absolutely everything Karen has to say. And as we receive funding at WIHD from government partners at every level of government, local, county, state, and federal, their support is really critical to the services that we provide. But we as not-for-profits need to be able to show the value of our work and really create the trust that is important in any relationship. So Karen talked about, it's really about our relationships with all of our government partners, and that they need to trust that we're going to do our job as efficiently and effectively as we can. So it really is our role, as Karen talked about, to help educate our elected officials about the needs of our constituents and the importance of our work. We're really not allowed to lobby for any specific program or legislation, but we can educate about the needs of our community. And I think Karen articulated beautifully how we can do that education and build those relationships with our government partners.
Well, as two powerhouse non-for-profit leaders within the Westchester community, that responsibility comes with unique challenges. Mm-hmm. What are some of the guiding principles that have helped you lead through change, and how do you build a strong, mission-driven team?
You know, the first CEO I worked with 20 years ago at a food bank taught me such a valuable lesson that when it comes to a team, every voice matters. So just as we lift up our neighbors who are hungry, my overarching goal is to ensure that when you think about the 75 staff members at Feeding Westchester. I know them. I hear from them their priorities, and they know that either I'll do everything I can to make work, and there's a reason we call it work, but make sure that they are as delighted as possible to come to work every day. And if there is something that matters to them that I'm not able to do, that I'm transparent about why not. And so we have an extraordinary team. I was in consulting for a while and worked with human service organizations across the United States. And I say without hesitation that the Feeding Westchester team is extraordinarily connected to mission. And so I honor them. It is a privilege for me to represent them in the community and their incredible work. So that's what drives me, is this team.
Thank you. I was thinking about this, and when I left my previous job to come to WIHD, the staff there created a graphic illustration summarizing my work. And the quote that they used in it was, "We need someone who inspires us to do better than we know how." So I think
love that.
yeah, it was really
beautiful.
touching.
You are the inspiration.
Absolutely.
And that's it. We need to leaders need to inspire people to do the best that they can do to lead that team. So that's our role as leaders.
I love that.
And Susan, I've been so impressed coming to your events and seeing the medical professionals who have been with your organization some 40 years, I believe.
Yes, we have an amazing longevity at WIHD. We do a longevity celebration every year and often have many people, 25, 30, 35, even 40 years.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And we all also know that over the last 5 years, nonprofit leaders have had to step up in times of crisis. Karen, you came to Westchester County not knowing a soul at the height of the pandemic, or when people really needed food, and I was so impressed, especially with how you just came in and got food to people. So we've had the pandemic. That's fortunately 5 years behind us. We continue with economic uncertainty. What are some of the lessons you've both learned, and what advice would you offer other leaders, nonprofit and for-profit, navigating through tough times?
So for me, one of the hardest lessons to learn has been you just can't react to everything. You will exhaust yourself. You will exhaust your organization and your team. And volatility is not a single incident. And so you have to conserve your strength as a leader. You have to ensure that your team knows that you're doing everything you can to defend them. And you have to remain laser focused on your mission.
Yeah, thank you. It's staying calm in a crisis, for sure. And communication and transparency, I think, is critically important in a crisis, to continually communicate with all of your constituents, your staff, the people that you serve, your outside partners, and being very transparent.
Staying calm in a crisis is a real talent. I don't think that's my strong suit, but Susan Fox and Karen Erren, I think that's your strong suit.
Well, I have places where, I get
to... Do you have scream rooms? Yes. At least you stay calm
I'm going
to
to disagree
others.
with Marsha. I've seen her many, many times
Agreed.
stay calm in a crisis.
So we are now going to take a break to hear from our sponsors, PCSB Bank and New York Presbyterian. Take your organization far with the power of local banking. PCSB Bank's array of services, customized solutions, and local financing decisions mean you have a powerful commercial bank nearby when you need them. Voted best in business banking for 2 years in a row by 914 Inc., PCSB Bank's commitment to serving consumers, businesses, and nonprofits in the community is unparalleled. Stop by one of their 14 branches located throughout Westchester, Putnam, Dutchess, and Rockland counties, or call 888-808-4700 to learn more. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
New York Presbyterian has 3 campus locations in Westchester: New York Presbyterian Westchester in Bronxville, New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital in Cortlandt Manor, and Westchester Behavioral Health in White Plains. It will also be one of their centers for excellence and pillars of their new state-of-the-art facility opening in 2025 at 1111 Westchester Avenue in White Plains.
Welcome back to Nonprofit Voices of Impact. Our guests are Karen Erren and Susan Fox. Karen Erren from Feeding Westchester and Susan Fox from Westchester Institute for Human Development, WIHD. Linda Tyler and myself, Marsha Gordon, are your hosts today of this podcast. And Linda, I know you have a great question for our guests.
Yes. We would love to hear your thoughts and feedback about how the non-for-profit sector is evolving. What are the biggest changes you see coming in the next decade, and how can organizations prepare to stay ahead?
Well, that's a big question. One of the things that fills me with joy is a specific evolution I've seen in the nonprofit community over the last 20 years. And I really think that we used to, as an industry, be very top down. We thought we knew best as nonprofits and as nonprofit leaders. And that really has been turned on its head. And it is a beautiful change for the community, which is who knows best a challenge. It's the person closest to the challenge. And so we have, as an industry, done a much better job, always still room to improve, at lifting up the voices of those with lived experience so that we do not assume we know either their situation or the solutions that are best for them. And so I really expect to see that continue. I think that we empower both our partners and the community members to have their own voice and to share that voice not only with us, but also with the greater community and with our elected officials.
Yeah, and I think the biggest change I've seen is not-for-profits really understanding that they are businesses, and we do business in absolutely every sector of a community, and we're really critical to the health and well-being of our communities. Without a really vibrant not-for-profit sector, a community can't thrive. We touch every sector: childcare, arts, housing, mental health, disability, education, transportation. So knowing that we are businesses that contribute to the community, we're part of the economic engine of every community, and are important for a community to thrive.
We're mission-based businesses.
Yes.
So we're going to kind of combine some thoughts here together. Karen, just talk a little bit about food insecurity in Westchester, how it's changed, and misconceptions, and then how people can get involved. And then Linda will ask you the same.
So the overarching the overarching perception that is inaccurate about hungry folks is when I speak to groups and I say to them, close your eyes for a minute and picture a hungry person. Almost infallibly, they think of someone on the side of the highway with a "will work for food" sign. But that is not the face of hunger in Westchester County. Overarchingly, these are our seniors who their fixed incomes haven't kept up with expenses. People live much longer than they used to. It is children who don't have access to food in the home. And then it is hardworking men and women, many of whom have multiple jobs but still can't make ends meet. So that is a misperception that I think it is critical to address. It offers the opportunity for us to look around and say, folks who are experiencing hunger are just like you and me. Their circumstances are different. And so we offer a lot of ways for folks to join us in the fight against hunger and ensure people have food on their tables. You can volunteer, You can make financial donations. You can make food donations. And we are so gratified that the community responds to these multiple levels. So those details can always be found on our website, feedingwestchester.org.
And Susan, how can businesses and policymakers, how can they support the work the non-for-profits like WIHD and Feeding Westchester, what can they do?
Yeah, I think in general, every person within our community can really just get involved. Everybody has a passion, and whatever your passion is, there's a not-for-profit out there that works in that area. So find your passion, find an organization that fits with your interests, and volunteer. Obviously, they need your money. That's always great, but there's so many other ways that people can contribute to the not-for-profit world. As Karen said, you can contribute food, clothing, furniture. There's all kinds of goods and services that you can contribute. And join a not-for-profit board. We are always looking for really good board members who are committed and passionate to our work. So that's really the best thing you can do is volunteer in some way, and if possible, join a not-for-profit board.
And talk about volunteering. You are both board members and volunteers at the Business Council of Westchester. We are so grateful. You both co-chair the Not-for-Profit Council of our organization. Can you tell us how this council, which you both lead, supports nonprofit organization, and how others can join?
Yeah, thank you. Really honored to chair this committee along with Karen and with the support of Linda. The council provides an opportunity for the over 155 not-for-profit members of the Business Council to meet, to connect with other not-for-profit organizations. We hold 3 to 4 meetings a year on topics important to the not-for-profit communities. Those meetings are always free to members, and they provide a great opportunity for not-for-profit members to network and work with others on common issues. The Business Council is also a great way for not-for-profits to connect with the broader business community, to get the word out about the amazing work that all of us do, and to find potential board members. So if you're interested in joining, Linda Tyler is the person to connect with.
Thank you. And you can go to our website, thebcw.org. And thank you both for sharing your time and your insights and your expertise and your experiences with us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us.
And we also want to thank our sponsors, New York Presbyterian and PCSB Bank, for your support of this podcast series and your support of the many nonprofits in Westchester County.
Be sure to check out the BCW Podcast Network's expansive lineup of shows: Leadership Unleashed, What's Trending, Advocacy and Politics Unplugged, The Member Spotlight, and Nonprofit Voices of Impact. The Business Council of Westchester is the county's largest business membership organization focusing on economic development and advocacy. With over 1,100 members, it is our mission to work for the profitability of our members and the prosperity of the Westchester community. To learn more, go to thebcw.org.